So we're so stoked to bring on this next guest. He's a popular interview these days because he's killing it at Saratoga this meet. 23 winners, currently sitting fourth in the jockey standings. Dylan Davis, welcome to the show.
Hi, Joe. Thanks for having me.
So glad to have you, and it's so great to see the success you're having because I feel like you've done it the hard way. You stay at Aqueduct in the winters. You have built up business slowly but surely over the years. What is there any one? I'm sure there's not one factor, but what are some of the factors that you think have contributed to you having such a breakout Saratoga meet?
I think it was staying with every year in the NYRA circuit and working hard and building the relationships up with the trainers and owners. And I like to see that success that we're having. I feel like it's been a breakout year, and we're building off of that.
I just got a quick follow up because I think so much of being a jockey and being at the top levels has to be confidence. Where you got it. I feel like it's like any other sport. Like if you're a hitter that's on a really good hitting streak, you're just seeing the ball really well. Is it kind of like that for you? Like, do you just feel like your confidence is through the roof now, as opposed to maybe when you were in some slumps back in the day?
Yeah, so I definitely correlate confidence with wins. When you keep winning, your confidence builds more and more. So I think those grow together. And with the wins like this meet so far, people keep building off of that, and I get better mounts for because of the winners.
Right. And Dylan, just walk our audience through what your day looks like, and maybe even a racing day. You're waking up at, I'm sure you're waking up at like 10 in the morning, rolling out of bed, going right to the jocks room. Give us an idea of like what goes on in the day of the life of Dylan Davis at Saratoga.
Yeah, so I am a father of 2 kids, but one of them is already down in Long Island. My wife down there, Sarah, getting ready for school. But the Mondays and Tuesdays I have very easy days. It just depends on rain. But Wednesdays to Sundays I am working a lot of horses every day. Usually 6 o'clock in the morning or 7:30 starting, and I'll work maybe 3 to 4 in the morning. Turf workouts Fridays and Sundays. We'll maybe have an additional 2 horses as well. Then after that, I'm usually go straight to the jocks room and get ready for the races. So just preparation, cleaned up from the morning, doing a little bit of handicapping, stretching, and my weight's very good, so I don't have to go to the hot box at all. And especially with the heat now, it's really good. And then after that, I go race by race and see how the track bias is going and what I have to do to adjust as the card goes.
Yeah, you mentioned handicapping. I always wonder, what, in the jocks room, are all the guys watching replays? Are they looking through the form? What's your personal strategy to get up to speed on these horses? Take us into that room in terms of the preparation that you and the other guys are doing.
Yeah, so I'm not sure exactly what other guys are doing, but for me, the very first thing I look at is speed horses, the pace of the race. I want to see how fast. I have a general idea of how fast the race is going to be. Then after that, I'm going to see where I think my horse is going to be, and what I need to do after that to get to the wire first. So whether I need to ask him a little more out of the gate or let him set back. Then I look at the previous rides on my horse, whether it was me or another rider. Maybe there was some bad decision making, or the horse was too wide or whatnot, and then I adjust as well. What I think I need to be done. Then you just really can't go out with one plan. You have the trainer and owners putting their thoughts into the race, and then also you have to have an open mind for the race when the gates open up, because everything could change. Other riders have different mentalities and what they want to do as well. So we're all adjusting every eighth of a mile in the race, and it just it's a constant flow. So that going back to the previous years, learning from experience and what I think is the best decision out there at the time, and that's why the owners and trainers ride me, so to make the best decision possible.
Yep. And Dylan, when you're out in a race and it's starting to unfold. And I'm sure you're seeing in your mind, okay, this is what I expected, or this is nowhere near what I expected. How much communication is going on between the jockeys, where maybe you're trying to hit a hole, or maybe they're getting in your way, or like that? Is there a lot? Is there not at all? You're really just kind of in a zone. What, walk us through when you're actually midway through a race, how you're communicating with your horse and also with the other riders.
Yeah, so usually it's very quiet out there with the jockeys' communication, because when somebody's in jeopardy or their life is on the line, they want to be able to be heard. So it's quiet out there for the most part. Then also communicating with my horse, just trying to get them to relax and get them into a rhythm that I like, and then go on from there. You're always trying to figure out what the next move is, and what the other riders are doing out there as well. What are their expectations? Like what I think they're going to do. And you try to think about, you're almost predicting the future of the race. Is this where I want to be at the half mile pole? Is this where I want to be at the quarter pole when everything is unfolding? So you're just trying to work out a trip, and then, riding with the same riders frequently makes the decisions a lot easier.
All right, let's get to the specific horses, because we already asked you our stupid question, since we're never on the back of a horse. What's it like being a jockey? Let's get to some specific horses that I'm sure will put a smile on your face. Carson's Run.
Yeah,
man, what a journey we've had with that horse. Obviously I work for West Point. I know this backstory. He's brought a lot of joy to a lot of people, and he's brought you 2 Grade 1 wins. One is a 2-year-old, one is a 3-year-old. Can you just talk about what it's been like to ride him and watch him develop ultimately into a Saratoga Derby winner?
Yeah, so he's a very special horse to me with 2 Grade 1s. Given that the Clement team given me a lot of support, but I found him as a young 2-year-old juvenile. I've been riding him his whole career besides one start, and we built together, a nice bond. We continue to grow, and I learn every start from him, and the workouts in between the races we learned together, and he's given me a lot of success in the racing, and so that's what he'll always be a special horse to me.
So Joe, since you brought up one of your horses, I'm going to bring up one of mine that's near and dear to my heart, and that's Webslinger. And Dylan, I don't know if you realize, but you are the last jockey to ever win the $500,000 now. They don't even write it anymore. That's how great of a job you did winning that race. They're like, nope, we can't top this. We're getting rid of it. It's off the calendar. But I met you in the paddock, and you were on the longer shot of the 2 that we had in there. We had another horse named Conman, who we thought was the favorite. And all you did was go from last, rocketed up to first, and basically put that horse in a different stratosphere. He went to the Breeders' Cup, and kind of the rest is history. What was going through your mind when you were like, damn, I could be at Saratoga, and instead I'm at lowly Monmouth, riding for the greens?
No, I never thought that. You never know where a good horse can come from. But Mark Cassey was another big supporter of mine, always gives me good opportunities. But you have to ride a race with open mind. Like you said, I was a longer shot of the couple of the 2 horses, and I just ride my race, let my horse get into a good stride, get him in, and then my second goal is get him to good rhythm. Means that they're in pace, they're doing it easily, and once you can get to that spot, you're going to have finish. So you're just always trying to get them to get that rhythm. And then you just ride the flow of the race, where if guys are moving early, you don't panic. You're trying to find a spot and make sure you have a clear spot for home, turn for home.
No doubt. One other horse I wanted to ask you about, and this is a joint family horse here on Rail Talk, is Sandman, owned in part by West Point, in part by DJ Stable. What a nice looking horse. You rode him terrifically, got that nice little pocket trip, came through on the inside. He's a young horse, still developing, obviously cost a lot of money. What were your impressions riding him?
I really liked him a lot. He's a nice, big, strong, I think he's a Tappet colt. And he, Mark, again, very easy to ride for. You just make sure you have to do your job. But he wanted me to teach him something that day, break him well. If he's on the lead, that's fine. But if he breaks okay, and you can settle with him and teach him to kick back and being inside, then he would have rather opted with that trip. So he broke well, and he actually fell into a nice pocket trip. Didn't panic. I felt really nice the whole way around there. He was just the pace was very easy for him, so he was very light on the bridle, and just eager to go. I can feel him. He was waiting for me, waiting for my commands. And, just riding the rails, saving ground, letting him see what it's like inside there. And he has got some kickback, and the leader ended up coming off the fence, and I had enough horse to jump through there. He actually was a little hesitant to go through, but a little more encouragement. He responded, and together as a team, we went through, and he had a lot of fun out there.
Yeah, looked like it.
Absolutely. And it goes back to confidence. I think if you hadn't had that confidence, the way you're riding right now, maybe the horse would feel that. Is that something that horses can? Okay.
Yeah, of course. No, they definitely could feel it. They just feel how you're sitting on them, and they could feel your tenseness. If you're moving around a lot, or even in the hands, or even sitting in the saddle, they feel all of those commands, and sometimes they can get confused or not sure what's going on, and then they get a little worried because they feel like you're worried and they not sure what's going on, and then they could question, like you say, like there's a hole in the rail. Is this really what the rider wants? Why is he nervous? So then they can get a little spotty, and then they might not run the same way.
Right. Let me just ask one more question, Dylan, and it's more of an overarching question about the industry. So now we're a year and a half into the HISA era, and we basically, hopefully have racetracks that are safer and protocols to make the horses safer. Are you feeling that out there? Are you feeling like that horses are sounder when they're going to the racetrack, or are we just kidding ourselves that these protocols aren't really doing what we are expecting them to do?
I personally, I don't think that that the number of strikes has made the horses sounder. I think it's the increase in the veterinarian protocols and medication rulings that actually makes it feel safer. So, I mean, I don't know if it's part of my success. I'm sitting on better horses, but overall, I think that I'm sitting on sounder horses. I haven't had to scratch as many now that the HISA rules have set in. But the 6-strike rule, I don't think has anything to do with the soundness of horses, but I definitely see a difference between pre-HISA, post-HISA.
Yeah, no, that's awesome to hear.
Good to know.
Yeah.
One last question for me. Obviously you come from a jockey family. Your dad, Robbie Davis, was one of the most talented jockeys of the last 30, 40 years or so. There's a great story about him that I went back and read recently in Sports Illustrated way back in 1989 called The Longest Ride. And it was kind of all about the ups and downs of his riding career. And he had to step away from the sport for a little bit just to kind of get his mind right and get in a position where he was able to come back and fully dedicate himself mentally and physically to riding. Has he imparted like any wisdom on you in terms of not just dealing with the physical tolls of being a jockey, but the mental tolls as well? Because, I don't have to tell you, it's not a sport where you get a ton of days off, a ton of mental health days. You just kind of got to keep going back out there. What has he taught you about that along the way, if anything?
Yeah, that's really good. It's a good question. Before I started my career, he wanted to make sure that this is really something that I wanted to do. And he instilled me that you cannot be a jockey a few days of the week. You have to dedicate your life to the sport, and you're 100% in or you're not. You can't just decide like certain days that you're going to be a jockey. So after that, I told him I was going to dedicate my life to the sport and go full force, and he was 100% behind me on that. So, I mean, it is difficult at times where, you're not having your best days or whatnot, but, I know that when I'm sitting on the horse's back, that's the exact place where I want to be, almost like a bliss moment, but I know that I belong there.
Yeah. No, I mean, you've proven that over and over again. Yep. Your kids, do they show any interest in the horses yet?
Yeah, my 2 kids. I have my son. He wants to be a jockey, but he's only 7 years old, so he's got a long ways to go. But right now, he loves to play golf, and I just keep him going with that, and we play together on the off days.
Good. Maybe get him a dirt bike first to train on.
Oh, he's riding 4-wheelers. Yeah, he's doing a lot of other things.
Nice.
Yeah, he's riding some 4-wheelers right now.
Yeah, Dylan, have him continue to play golf and maybe be an owner. Out of the 3 options that you have, being a trainer, jockey, or owner, it's a lot safer on this side of the table for sure. Joe, Dylan, you know this already, but Joe, I didn't realize this until we got Dylan on the air, or in queue to do the interview. But Dylan's been in the top 20 in earnings every year since 2018. I mean, that's unbelievable when you know, to with all the jockeys in the population that are out there. What do you attribute that to, Dylan? I mean, is that just because, you know, you're one of the top 20 jockeys in the country? Is it strategy as far as picking up mounts? There's got to be some plan. That doesn't happen by accident.
Yeah. So again, a lot. My father's taught me a lot. So you have to surround yourself with the best to be the best. So the best horses are here in New York, and there are a few circuits across the country. Also, the best purses are here, and you know, I dedicated most of my career in New York year round. So I built it to this moment, and you know, there's more to come. But I think that because the purses are so well, and I built my business in New York, that has a lot to contribute to the top 20. So I mean, you could say, like, if you've ridden at a smaller track, it would be definitely a lot more difficult to be top 20
right.
In earnings. So you have to surround yourself with the good horses and the purses to contribute to that.
And the good people like your agent, you were saying.
Yeah, so I mean, I have my agent, Mike McGlory, Richie's older brother. He's a big supporter of mine. We've been together for 7 years now, and he got me when I was doing at my lowest, really, and I didn't really know what track that I could ride at. I was like trying to go back to Kentucky.
Right.
I was trying to ride Monmouth. I didn't have any business, and he was a big supporter of mine and instilled me to stay, and I believed in him, and we worked very hard for, you know, numerous years, 5:30 every morning, even on the off days, because I believed in it and believed in us and believed what we could do. And that's what I could say is that we definitely grew together, and I have to thank a lot to Mike for my business.
Yeah, I don't think it's any coincidence that you started with him, and then the following year you was the first of 6 in a row where you were in the top 20 in earnings. So it's credit to both you guys.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, you know, I have ultra respect for you, especially because you ride year round in New York. That's not an easy thing to do in the winter. So I just inherently root for guys like you and Kendrick that like stick around and ride through the winter at Aqueduct. I mean, that's got to be tough, but that's got to be also be part of why you are now where you are.
Yeah, winters can be tough at Aqueduct, but what I always said is I like when other riders are complaining about the cold, because it makes me feel better. So I know that when I'm going out on the track, I'm not the only one riding in those weather conditions. So all the other riders have to do the same, the wind or the cold. So I'm not just the only one dealing with it. So I actually thrive on other riders that don't like it. So it makes me feel better, and I feel like it's something I can capitalize on. I grew up in Saratoga Springs, and the winters were tough, so the Aqueduct winters are, I just compare it, and is not as bad, really.
Hustle all winter, shine all summer. Yep. I feel like that's the MO here. Dylan, I like it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on, man. And we're so thrilled and so proud to see the success you've had. Keep it going.
Thank you, guys.